The Farmer FootDrum, over the years, I have started to take it in my mind as being a platform. It's not just for the bass drum up front or the snare in the middle, or of course having a set of hi-hats in there. I've kind of learned through a lot of my customers that there's a lot of different ways to set these things up. So while we have a lot of options and variability in our Farmer FootDrum, whether it be a 6-pedal with the basic kind of bass, snare, and hi-hat play, we go up to a 9-pedal with a little bit more snare and a little bit more embellishments with the external cymbals perhaps, and then all the way up to a 12-pedal that allows you to have egg shakers and jingle sticks and all sorts of the other bells and whistles of a drum set. But sometimes you know what you want because maybe you've had a vision in your head that it's not just the drum kit that you see on our webpage. So for that reason, we have a FootDrum custom section here that is allowing you as the customer to help me design what you want. Perhaps our number one thing that we get requested for is kind of a custom element, is doing it a goofy orientation. A goofy orientation just means that your dominant foot usually plays the bass drum on a drum set is the right foot, and that's about 90% of us, and you're driving that right foot and your bass on the right side of our drum kits. On a goofy version or a left-footed bass, we simply just put everything in mirror. It's a real nominal cost, but it does take a little bit of time in our shop to do this, and it doesn't go back to being a right-footed bass if you were to sell it later. So it is kind of considered a custom drum, and we're happy to do that for that 10% of you on average that have a dominant left foot. The other thing that we often do in our shop or get requests for are the embellishments. Now, an embellishment might be that we made one for J.J. Gray, a popular touring artist who wanted some binding edges on the external edges of his wood, much like a guitar. So it kind of has a nice little piping of color that adds a nice design element. We've had requests for doing different special colors, of course. We've had different setups where there was like a veneer wrap on the wood. Again, we're willing to kind of work with you on some of the imaginative elements that you can make your FootDrum kind of stand out more than usual. Another element that we do, which is also, or I have done once or twice before, is making the double bass drum pedal. A lot of drum kit players in the heavy speed metal or anything that really requires a heavy reliance on that bass drum pedal, they'll have 2 pedals set up for that. Now on a FootDrum, being limited in space, what we do is we kind of make a FootDrum in mirror so it's symmetrical on both sides. So your right inner pedal is a bass drum and your left inner pedal is a bass drum, getting that double pedal on the bass drum. However, you give up your hi-hat realm, and that's where your hi-hats would generally sit on that left side. You could do them as an external fixed hi-hat. We sell the hardware to do that, so you could play it with your left outer pedal or perhaps with a toe post if you're into a 9 or a 12. There are other ways to accomplish this. Maybe you don't even want hi-hats. What you also get on that, interestingly, is your pedals could be set up to play with 4 snare sticks or 5 snare sticks if you're playing it with a snare drag, a 9 and a 12 pedal setup. So there are lots of kind of fun options to think about when you look at it like that. The other one, and the one that we're going to be talking about here, is the heavy hitter FootDrum. Now, the heavy hitter FootDrum is just made with extra hardware, with lots of extra parts and extra sets of locking screws and memory locks and all the different things I can think of to make this really sturdy for the folks who really need to get their passion done through their legs and onto their drums in a heavy way. So this particular customer is Cam Cole in the United Kingdom. Kind of picked up some fame for being a great busker in the streets of London and some viral videos, as well as a TV show appearance in a great TV show that really got him a little bit more credibility to tour around the world. That show is Ted Lasso. Pretty cool episode if you see it, or the whole series. It's pretty neat stuff. But this is going to be a drum kit for him. He's going to be heading out on tour. He's going to be headlining big festivals, and we want to make sure that this drum, according to his specs, was built like a motherfucking tank. And I mean that to say that we are just over-designing every element that we can think of. So let's take a quick peek at it, and I'll show you a few of the features that we're adding for his drum. Perhaps the first and foremost thing is going to be looking at the thicker pedals. These pedals are now on all of our FootDrums are going to be a 1/4 inch thick. And I just thought, why not? He's not worried about weight as much, and we're just looking for the strength and integrity of all that. We're also including these toe posts to be a double conjoined with both the magnetic springs on both of this side. So it's a really nice, solid playing element there. And that is going to be only for the 9 pedal in this configuration of a heavy hitter styled drum kit. It's got a snare drag on the right hand side on that heel. So you go down, you get one, and you get the release, you get a couple other dribbles. So you can kind of do a roll pretty quick. And of course on your left hand side you would also have a snare. So you can get 3 of these snare sounds packed in there to get some really interesting tight drum rolls. Of course, the other elements that we're going to be looking at here, quite obviously, is the embellishment of the distressed color on the wood. We have a little bit of hints of green and hints of brown underneath. It's got a little bit of a alligator skin kind of texture on the top just to make it feel a little bit more weather worn. I know that Cam is out there busting his butt, making it happen in the streets all the time and touring these things. You know, we're just balancing at the very height of this thing to be the most durable product we can. Of course, we're balancing that with sound, with the looks, with the options and playability. Now, in the case of the heavy hitter, you are losing a few different options for making convenience the top priority of the design. What we really want to make sure is that nothing happens in between you playing it, starting your show, and ending it. It's going to be the same drum that you started with on the gig or the tour. And that just means that we're going to have some extra sets of precautions to make sure that it's as strong and staying in the set positions as long as possible. So a few other things to be looking at here. We're going to go look underneath. In order to do that, we'll tilt it back. And we'll notice a few different layers to this pie. This is the custom element of the toe post that this particular customer Cam has ordered. Kind of have our fixed drumstick that is off on a right hand angle with a pillar here that allows for an external mounting as well. Again, this part does not come standard on our other foot drums. It's just a custom element to try to get the different pedal configurations for the way that this customer liked it. I'm going to go ahead and once you kind of see a little bit of the double set parts here, you can notice underneath there that there is a lot of tension rod heads and thumb bolts. I see just in this view here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tension head bolts there allow your drum key to turn and tighten down. And that's just to make sure that this union of a joint is all sturdy and it's not going to be moving. But for the time being, we're going to go ahead and take that off. Again, we have a double set and all of our foot drums have this. And you have 2 of these things to undo. This will just give us a bigger window inside of the drum. So what I have here is a setup of the foot drum, and we're going to take a look at the snare now. Our regular drums have a safety cord that goes off to the side here, but again, this customer really needed this stuff to be dialed in, so we have 2 L rods coming off into this snare drum for it really to lock in there and not move at all. Looking inside, you'll notice something probably striking that a lot of other drum kits do not have, and that is a jingle ring instead of the hi-hats. That's just kind of a fun way to get that sparkly high-end sound, and is just a good way to play these kits. And again, so in order to make sure that these sticks are really locked in there, we got rid of what we would usually have as a quick release, allowing you to change out the sticks and try different sounds really good and easy. And we're going to be replacing that here with these wrenches. And the wrenches means you're just going to wrench it down in order to make sure that that is 100,000% secured. Now, again, we're giving up a little bit of the convenience for the 100% rigidity of stability in this sense. This is our little snare drag pedal. It is actually kind of pinned in to our system here so that it doesn't swivel or change its positioning. These are, again, these two L rods here. We've overbuilt this when it calls for an M6. Again, we don't have any problems with our regular drums, but when you're given the task to make something like a tank, you just have to overdo everything. And so what we've done is overdo the bolts, making sure that everything here is stepped up from an M6 to an M8 size bolting systems. We've done a lot of this stuff where it has the double locking memory locks on both sides of our brackets to make sure that nothing is ever going to be coming loose on any particular time. We have a couple different features where we have longer legs, and that is a custom element because Cam really likes to play it with the heel or rear legs up a little bit higher for a more level playing distance. And so we were making the columns just a little bit longer and fixed in that sense. The other elements that we hope to really make sure that this drum shines on is the way that it is able to accommodate heavy hitting. And for that reason, we've upgraded some of the hardware and some of the hinges in order for somebody to really, literally raise their leg up 2 or 3 feet and come slamming down on top of it. We've had a few customers along the way who've done this sort of style of playing, and that's somebody who might consider a heavy hitter of a player. If you need anything in the foot drum world, just let us know. We will try to help you understand and realize your dream for making a setup that works best for you.